morning, fellas. Okay, it's about 10 a.m. in the morning. This is take 2 of the Lithium motorcycle jump pack. This bloody thing here. 10 a.m. is most probably not very early for some people, but for me, as you can see, I've been up for about an hour. Been reading through some of these bloody comments, and I'm just thought, all right, I'm going to do this bloody. There was some decent bloody question. Like I said, I'm half asleep. There were some decent comments. I'd made mention I was saying the wrong bloody thing. This is 15,000 milliamp hours. This is 8,000 milliamp hours. I think I said 800 or 1500 or whatever, but that's 15,000 milliamp hours. That's 8,000 milliamp hours. Now there was other comments about, and I'm most probably going to sit down and do the next bit with you, and I'm going to do some testing because someone else mentioned about using a battery that's dead flat. Now I've got a dead flat battery which will do that test to see whether it was started. And there were some other bloody comments, but anyway, I'm going to sit down and we'll bloody go through it. Alright guys, so here's a comment. G'day Mark, why don't you try to use a set of supercapacitors for that purpose? Sure, if you can afford it. They have a lightweight, instantaneous charging speed and a huge lifetime. Also, they don't have any memory effect. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. Supercapacitors, bloody whatever. That means nothing to me. Alright, here's one. That looks awesome. My wife and I each keep one like it handy for devices, but jump starting vehicles would be great. Not to be a pain, but if you charge a couple of phones and a camera or two, your regular device load out overnight, like you mentioned, and wake up to a dead bike, how does this fare? Well, if that happens, that means that you don't go anywhere. Your battery is flat and your battery pack that you brought is got nothing in it. That means you're buggered. You call RACV or whatever. If I didn't take that battery pack with me, I wouldn't have been able to start my bike and I wouldn't have been able to do my devices. So maybe I could take 2 battery packs, so that's a backup on a backup type of thing. That's the thing. I mean, it's like if any of these things, there's always if, buts, or whatever. I mean, yeah. Love the hang on, I'll come back to you. Yeah, another one. I love the idea of the starter, but wouldn't charging your devices after a ride put you at risk of being able to start your bike in the morning if the battery was to be flat? Same as the last response. I mean, I don't know what the answer is to that. There is no answer. Now here's one response. I don't know if you can see the amount of text there. Now this is obviously a rocket scientist. Bikevits, you have to be careful on those jump starters. Linus from Linus Tech Tips and AVE both took these apart and did testing on them. They found the advertisements of the MAR rating to be very false. All the ones they tested based the rating off the single cell by the number of the cells. So example, if the 10 cells are the 1000 MAR, the device will say 10,000 MAR at the 3-point volt at the bloody... It's like, really? Now obviously they didn't test all of them. Obviously we know that there are shonky ones and there are not so shonky ones. I mean, and that's what I've got quite a few of these type things where they're rocket scientists and, you know, they're talking about use RC LiPo pack with a jumper cable attached connected to the battery connector over the device. They make even an adapter that converts the LiPo voltage to 5 volt, blah, blah, blah. It's like, where can I buy one of these things? Are these so fantastic? Why aren't they on the shelves? And why can't I bloody buy one? I'll take it if it's bloody better than this other thing. Now, so with the 15,000 milliamp hours and the 8,000 milliamp hours, milliamp hours means diddly squat to me, really, honestly, and to most people it means jack shit. Let's call that a 1 litre bottle of Coke, and that's 375 75 fucking gram can of Coke. So that's a bottle of Coke, that's a can of Coke. All I'm worried about is that this can of Coke will start that bike. this bottle of Coke will start that bike, but it most probably, and it does, start the Jeep. It's got more juice in it, that's all it is. So, we all get a little bit too bloody finicky. Yeah, I don't know. I'm most probably not very diplomatic this morning. It's too early for me. So what I'm going to do is I've got a whole heap of batteries out here, and I've got one lead acid battery which was bloody sitting outside, just it's totally dead. So we're going to try and start this bike with no battery whatsoever. Oh, that was the other bloody comment. There was another comment that said, I'm going to find it, hang on. Here we go. Most of these devices base the rating off a single cell capacity by, and he goes on a little bit like that. I have a 10,000 milliamp hour starter pack that will not start the bike without the bad battery attached, but gives just enough start to start a bad battery a few times before too weak. On what planet do you not have a battery in your bike? Now, if I'm out on an adventure, I certainly don't pull up somewhere, take my seat off and my side things, pull my battery out, and maybe, I don't know what I'm doing with it. Am I cleaning the battery, sitting it down there, having a cigarette, and then I jump back on my bike, and then ride away and forget that I left my battery there, and then I don't have a battery? What was the point of that comment? Who doesn't have a battery in their bike? I mean, unless I don't know, maybe it's too early for me. Alright, let's just start this bloody testing. Okay, just for the purposes of I don't know what. That's my good battery. There you go, do it that way. That was the battery that I tested in the previous video. That's my old lead acid battery, so that's got more charge than that one. That's my old lead acid battery, so hopefully you can see that this battery is dead cactus, rooted, there's nothing in there. Actually, here's another one. I jumpstart by using a hill. If it was worst case, I'd turn your lights off first. Well, I don't know what motorbike you got, mate. This DR650, I can't turn the lights on. As soon as I turn the ignition on, the lights come on. There's no way to turn them off. That here in Australia is a legal requirement. We can't do that. You can bypass it, but I would have to then fucking try and work out how to make it so that, you know, on the side of the road when I've got a flat battery, try and work out how to do that. As for a hill, I mean, I don't pull up on top of a hill every time. So if I'm out on an adventure, not like that last one that I did, which was out at the Sunset doing the sand riding, those hills were pretty bloody small, and if I hadn't a bloody died where I camped, there was no bloody hill there. I would have had to have lugged this bike with all the gear on it, or take all the gear off, push this bike through thick sand to try and then find a decent hill that I could then jumpstart it down a sand. It just wouldn't happen. So that's not a very helpful comment either. I suppose that's what I'm getting at. Some comments aren't very helpful. Alright, so I've got this lead acid battery that doesn't have any power in it. These screws that I've got are different screws, so they're not actually locking in. So I'm hoping that they're going to be a good enough connection. If I connect on here and here, there is still no power. Alright, let's go. Turn the ignition on. Obviously. Oh, okay, so that's now saying it's ready to start. There's no lights. As we know, that battery is absolutely dead cactus. Oh, full throttle. Got nothing. Alright guys, I'm going to have to find the little bloody grub screws that go into the battery because it's not connecting up properly. So I thought what I'd do now is just try and connect. I've connected the battery directly just to the cables. And when I turn that on, you can see I've got lights and power. So let's try and start it like that. Starts it. So there you go, all these things aren't created equal. This will start the bike without the battery in there. For what purpose that would be, I have no idea. Alright, so I've got to find these scrub screws and fix that up. Alright guys, so now I've got the batteries connected to the main cables, the jumpers are on. Stuff arsing around trying to find the right bloody gear. So it's flashing going, can't do nothing. Now right to go. So there you go guys, hopefully that's answered a few questions. So this 8000 milliamp hour battery will charge a DR650 at the temperature of 9.8 degrees at 10:51 AM in the morning. It will start it with a totally dead battery. It will start it with no battery. And yesterday I know that it was about 12.7 degrees at, I don't know what time it was. It would start a DR650 with a battery that has a little bit of charge in it. So there you go. If you don't have one of these, and it's your choice what you want to do, if you don't have one of these, you can't charge any of your devices unless you use your battery off your bike. And if you have a flat battery in the morning, well, you just can't do anything. If you have one of these, you can most probably start your bike in the morning if your battery is flat. If you have one of these and you use it to charge all your devices overnight and your little light thing is below 3, you most probably won't be able to start your bike in the morning, and you'll have to call RACV or try and find a hill and jump start it. Am I missing anything? I don't know. Yeah, I think that's about it. Wasn't very diplomatic about this, but hey, that's the way it goes. Keep on riding.